Greetings, Auroras and Sandmen. This is Matt Harpatrick. As someone who enjoys animation embracing its creativity and wackiness, I love it when an anime movie, show, or video game can create whatever they want that screams that this idea, place, or creature is not from this earth. But there is one place that has absolutely no limit to the imagination. The dreams. When it comes to dreams in general, they are a gateway to the world of your imagination. Every time you fall asleep, you would have all kinds of dreams that you wouldn't believe your eyes. You can have a dream about flying, being a celebrity on TV, or go to a sunny beach resort with no explanation whatsoever. And then you have those nightmares like encountering a monster, being late for school or work, or even drowning in water or falling into thin air. These are the few examples you would commonly have in your dreams in the past or present. But then you would have some random dream that just came out of the blue, and that's when your mind snapped and decided to quit on logic. And with animation, there have been lots of crazy dreams for some of these cartoon characters, and it makes their real world look normal in comparison. Now for this top 10, I'm going to talk about any trippy dream sequence in an anime project. It can come from a moment in a movie, a TV episode, or a cartoon short. Their dreams will be ranked based on how crazy and imaginative they are. However, since there are lots of crazy cartoon dreams, many of them under a minute, each dream must last at least a minute and a half. If it's a compilation of weird dreams, I will combine the total amount of time for all of them. Also, they must only occur when the characters are officially asleep, so no daydreams, simulations, use of drugs or alcohol, or any other hallucinations. So let's sprinkle some sand because we're about to have the night of our lives. This is the top 10 weirdest cartoon dreams. Now let us begin our dream journey by talking about everyone's favorite walking clay, who had the most unusual adventure inside his mind. Gumby is the most iconic stop-motion character ever created. He is known for shapeshifting for being made of clay, which causes him and his friend to go on incredible adventures. He may be the good-hearted clay boy that's there to save the day in some of his episodes, but despite that, he lives in a world where he can jump into a book, start a rock band, or play some toys in Toyland, whether they're big or small. Gumby had the weirdest dream as it was taken over by his arch enemies, the Blockheads. In the episode Blocks in the Head, he spent all night studying his art history test on Cubism for school. While his dad recommended finishing the book in the morning before the test, it was too little too late for Gumby when he encounters something unusual. At first, it looks like a normal day in Toyland. However, when Gumby crosses paths with a motorcyclist, he saw his head turn into a shape of a cube. But it doesn't stop there. He then noticed that his teacher and the rest of the students all have blockheads. As you can tell, this all started from reading a textbook about cubes in preparation for a test. Since Gumby studied overnight, he can't help but see blocks on everyone's heads. That's all he can think of in his dream. Although Gumby tried to distance himself from others to keep his mind clear, the cubes still haunt and even toy with him. Instead of giving him time to rest, they pop out a checkerboard and play Vertigo on him. Holy Toledo! It's almost like the actual blockheads from the show has taken over the world Planet of the Apes style. Even the futuristic music on the square transformation has that eerie feeling something isn't right here. So much so, it made Gumby lose his mind. Later in his dream, he tried to see a psychiatrist to fix this. He did get over the confusion this time when he sees her after getting his prescription, but he completely lost it when he sees himself with a blockhead in the mirror despite his head is still normal on his head before he wakes up. This dream may not be at the top of the pyramid, but those blocks will still be stuck in our heads for a while.
I'm okay. I'm okay! Big deal.
Once upon a time, there were two kids named Arthur and Dora Winifred. Arthur was the most popular educated anime series of all time next to Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. If there is something I know very well about the show, is that it did have a series of crazy dreams and imaginations. You know that sound effect that indicates someone is having a dream or a fantasy, and then they use it again to end it off? That's the one element from the show you'll remember instantly. But finding the weirdest Arthur dream was actually harder than I expected. Some of them were actually good candidates. Whether it be Arthur's fear of not returning a library book, being chased by a giant cheeseburger, or the brain turning into Dr. Jekyll and singing a song about it. Eventually, it came down with 2 dreams, and each of their sequence play a prominent role in the respective episodes, DW's name game and Just Desserts. In DW's episode, she tries to get even with her brother by calling him names with some help from their babysitter and her dictionary. Arthur does the same thing until he finally beats her by saying her real name.
You're such a Dora Winifred! Dora Winifred! Stop it! Dora Winifred! Stop it!
When it was time for bed, DW has a dream that her happy place is being destroyed by the quote-unquote evil Arthur by shouting Dora Winifred. The only thing she can stop this is by finding the Great Thesaurus, which is a dinosaur with a massive vocabulary. She will have to go to the library to find him, and guess how she makes it? By jumping into a book from a talking deer.
So where is Thesaurus? He dwells beyond the woods. Do you have a picture of the place?
In the other episode, Just Desserts, Arthur fell sick after having too much cake and other sweets. His grandmother suggested she would tell him a fairy tale despite he says they're for babies. However, she claimed they can be quite terrifying and sometimes exciting. When he falls asleep, he has a dream that he's in the Hansel and Gretel story, Little Red Riding Hood, and Jack and the Beanstalk. It may seem like a typical fairy tale dream, but some of them have a unique twist of their own. There's a sugar mall next door to the gingerbread house, the giant is a series of every junk food Arthur has ever eaten, and instead of encountering the big bad wolf disguised as his grandma is a cake and she wants to be eaten by him.
And what dark, chocolatey eyes! The better to be eaten by you!
Basically, the purpose of these episodes is to explain that name-calling is unhealthy, including the victor, and fairy tales are not as babyish as they seem. Even the grim stories back then were considered dark and exciting, and we still have several adaptations of those stories that makes themselves exhilarating. No matter which Arthur dream is considered the most bizarre, they give out a simple message that comes from the mind. And these 2 dream episodes are a good place to start.
And you were in it too!
Oh, sheesh.
If you thought Gummy had the weird stop-motion dream, you should see this character down at the Antarctic zone. Pingu is a stop-motion children's series in the UK and Switzerland about a penguin named Pingu who goes on adventures in the South Pole. The show doesn't really have any spoken dialogue, it's just language they speak in what they call Penguinese. It was a good series for younger audiences, and it was popular enough to air and release VHS and DVD videos in other countries. But there is one episode that is madder than the dream itself. The episode starts with Pingu's mom telling him a bedtime story. He falls asleep and dreams that his house is levitating and he's riding his bed like a horse. Seems like a normal dream, but Pingu's dream should have been retitled Pingu's Nightmare when he sees this thing. This giant walrus monster is what people remember from the episode, and he is scary to look at. Those big pupil eyes, that giant jaw, the way he laughs, everything about him is a scary fever. The more he stays on screen and messes with Pingu, the more frightening he gets. And here I thought lions and boulders with faces were the only scariest things in children's shows. Thank you for proving me wrong. The penguin in the bed did manage to escape him briefly, but the dream ends with Pingu sliding down the snow, and the episode ends with Pingu waking up from his dream, crying and telling his mom what he dreamed about as she tries to calm him down. Hopefully that children's chorus song and Pingu's signature noise can ease things up. This walrus has such a disturbing look that this episode was removed from other countries, including the UK. No kidding, how are we gonna come back from that? There was another imaginative dream episode called Pingu in Paradise where he dreams about candy, sweets, and everything around him coming to life. While I like how creative it was, and it's much tamer than the Wallace dream, I just thought the weirdest dream that came out from it was the family snowman talking. But this giant tuskless monster is what everyone can't stop talking about. This episode may be a cute little penguin short, but Pingu won't be the only one crying in his bed. Why did I thought coming here was such a good idea?
If you would like to change background setting, press 1.
If you would like to warm up the temperature, press 3. next cartoon dream on the list, press 7. The Garfield show has been considered by many fans to be the weakest adaptations of the comics. It has a lot of ideas to be a funny cartoon, but Garfield's Saturday morning show, Garfield and Friends, was the funniest he's ever been. While the hand-drawn version had a variety of weird dreams from the Orange Cat and Orson's Farm, one episode from the Garfield show was interesting and let the imagination run wild, and all it took is by staying on the phone line. In Land of the Hold, John tries to call a TV repairman, but he's stuck on hold, and he's trying to get his casserole out of the oven. He lets Garfield on the phone, which causes the feline to fall asleep. When he got up, the phone gives him some options, like ordering pizza, stopping traffic, and saying normal to another planet. At first, it looks like he can have fun with it, but other times, the phone doesn't exactly give him what he wants.
You have ordered anchovies.
Huh? No, I didn't order anchovies.
You have ordered more anchovies.
Plus, he meets inspectors who've been stuck on hold for who knows how long and is tormenting everyone on Earth. The reason why this dream episode is on its list is because it has a clever commentary on relying on technology. We've been in a position that we've been on hold when we order or call for help, whether it be on the phone or contact a technology or social network company on email, and we had to wait for a long time for them to respond. We just want to talk to a real person for help, not an automatic bot. And that's what Garfield does in his dream. He tries to find a human being, but it didn't go well as he expected. He ends up finding a phone emperor surrounded by phone buttons, proving that there are no more humans on Earth, even though there was a mailman at the beginning of the episode walking normally. But the point is, phones are now the dominant species.
And here we've been worried about computers taking over.
That happened long ago.
And when Garfield tries to tell the world to stop the hold on phone line, all the other buttons surround him, announcing numerous command buttons, much to his annoyance. They can say Garfield's call is important to them, but his dream doesn't know the meaning of staying on the line.
Your call will be answered in the order received.
In dreams, they can take you anywhere like an adventure, but sometimes in adventures, danger lurks behind you, and there's a stranger out to find you. DuckTales is known for taking Scrooge and his friends on lots of adventures, traveling to other countries of the world and finding treasures. In the 2017 reboot, adventure never stops, even when they're asleep. Donald's nephews, Webby, Lena, and Violet have a sleepover in celebration of Lena and Webby's 1-year anniversary of being friends. When they all fall asleep, they all share the same dream together because of Lena's magic. With this power, they can travel to their own favorite dreams, like surviving on an island with no contact to the outside world, become a star in a high school-like sitcom, become a lazy cat, and grow long limbs. On top of that, it pokes fun at every trope of having a dream, from sleeping in a dream to the fate of dream characters when no one's around. The only one that is not having fun with this dream adventure is Lena, because she's being haunted by her aunt and Scrooge's powerful nemesis, Magica Dispel. Before the sleepover, she's been having bad dreams of Magica, who is trying to convince Lena to come back to her so she can regain her powers. No matter which dream they enter or what they come up with, Magica is still following her without anyone noticing. This is possibly the most funny and disturbing dream montage ever come up with. The reason why Lena can't simply wake up is because her powers are too unpredictable, and there's no telling what will happen if she uses it to undo the dream spell. But things get a lot deeper. When Magica finally caught up to her, she manipulated her into thinking that she's evil since she was her shadow, and go as far as turning into her own aunt. It leads to a cool and touching climax of Webby and the others saving Lena from Magica, showing that even if Lena was a part of Magica, that doesn't mean she's bad. She already knows in the past episodes and in this episode that she is a good sorceress. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg, but a nightmare at Killmotor Hill can be a duck blur.
We should test to be certain that this isn't a dream.
That's right. We might still be dreaming. Ugh.
Led through the mist by the mid-light of moon, all that is lost is revealed. In terms of storytelling, many people say that the entire series Over the Garden Wall is a dream series, where in the last episode, it ended with Warren Gregg in the hospital after being rescued from drowning. However, there is still the argument that all their adventures from the unknown may turn out to be real, since Jason Thunderburger still has the enchanted bell in his stomach. If there will be one episode we can officially call it a dream and possibly the weirdest, it will be the 8th episode of the miniseries Babes in the Wood. Before Greg falls asleep, he makes a wish upon a star about becoming a leader and finding a way to get both him and Ward back home. Then we hear this opera music with Greg floating in the air with a bunch of angel heads and gets a bed ride carried by a donkey to a cloud kingdom called Cloud City. In this place, he runs a parade with a bunch of cartoony animals, the reception committee, and other strange characters.
Okay, are there more? Well, that's enough.
This is meant to be an homage to the earliest Walt Disney creations, the Alice comedies, specifically the episode Alice's Wonderland, including a normal person entering a cartoon world, cutting into an Irish shot, and receiving a big parade and fun time until a big threat arrives and chases everyone down. And that's a rock fact. And just like the Alice episode, something arrives to rain on Greg's parade. He accidentally opens the gate, unleashing a massive storm cloud called the North Wind, and started to blow everything away. The interesting thing about this dream is that it would cut back to Ward and Greg still asleep with the cold weather freezing them, foreshadowing the winter snow arriving later and causing a parallel between the unknown world and Cloud City's world. Greg did manage to defeat the North Wind and gets one wish from the Queen of the Clouds. He wants to go home with Ward, but his brother can't go with him because he's now being claimed by the Beast. This leads to the biggest sacrifice, with Greg wishing to take Ward's place in hands of the villain after he wakes up. And because of this, Ward got his courage back and would do whatever it takes to get his brother back and return home with him. It's whimsical, it's weird, it's dramatic, and it's emotional. If dreams like Babes of the Wood can't come true, then why not pretend?
Then it shall be done.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe me for a new review and other project every week. I'll see you soon.